You know, the morning the U.S. Marshal's voice boomed across the bay, reading Victoria Thornawood her rights while her fancy million-dollar yacht bobbed helplessly between Coast Guard boats. She was yelling about freedom and trespassing like the world owed her an apology, but 6 hours before that, she'd marched onto my dock with a stack of phony papers from the 1800s, demanding I hand over my whole island to her bogus homeowners association. What she didn't realize was I wasn't some clueless retiree who'd snagged a slice of paradise on a whim. I was right where the feds had planted me, waiting for sharks like her to bite. Man, if you've ever tangled with an HOA that acts like they own the ocean itself, stick around, this one's going to hit close to home. Let me take you back a bit. I'm Jack Harlan, 40-something now, and 3 weeks ago, I became the proud, or should I say, strategic owner of Eagle Point Island, a rugged little spot 3 miles off the Maine coast. It wasn't luck or family money that got me there, though that's the story I fed the locals. Truth is, after a decade in Coast Guard intel, cracking down on smuggling rings that slithered through these foggy inlets, I'd blown the whistle on a syndicate hauling in millions in dirty cargo. My testimony locked up a dozen heavy hitters and froze their assets, and as a thank you from Uncle Sam through the Witness Protection Program, I picked this island from the seized pile. 14 acres of craggy cliffs, whispering pines, a solid 4,000 square foot keeper's house tacked onto an old lighthouse from 1865, all tricked out with solar rigs, a windmill for power, and a desal plant that turns salt water into something drinkable. The bad guys who'd owned it before had poured cash into it, a hidden helipad they called emergency access, but really for late-night drops, an airstrip for my old Piper Cub, even underground bunkers from Prohibition days, now stocked with who knows what leftovers. I spent those first days wandering, uncovering trails etched by smugglers, a boathouse crammed with gear. It felt like stepping into a thriller novel. You know, the kind where every rock hides a secret, and I couldn't shake this quiet thrill mixed with a knot in my gut, wondering if the past would come knocking. Then, on day 3, it did, loud and uninvited. I was up on a lighthouse catwalk tweaking a new radar setup when I heard this buzz like a hornet swarm and spotted a sleek blue float plane skimming the waves. No heads up on the radio, no flight plan ping. It splashed down smooth as silk near my dock, trailed by a convoy, her gleaming 70-foot azimuth yacht, all polished teak and chrome, flanked by a pair of speedboats like bodyguards. Out steps Victoria Thornawood, this polished predator in a crisp white suit and heels that screamed boardroom bully, hair slicked back like she was auditioning for a villain role, maybe mid-50s but fighting it with every filler known to man. Trailing her, Fergoons in identical gray jackets with some embroidered badge I couldn't place, a photographer with a lens like a Canon, and a guy in what looked like a deputy's uniform, but something about his badge screamed knockoff. They strutted up my path like they were appraising a foreclosure, Victoria barking orders, pointing at my setups, ignoring me entirely at first. When she finally locked eyes, her smile was all shark, no warmth, just calculation. "You must be the new squatter," she says, voice dripping honeyed venom. "I'm Victoria Thornawood, chair of the Bay Haven Association, and we've got a problem with your occupation here." She whips out this leather binder, pulls papers that looked aged like fine wine, but I knew fakes from my intel days. Wording too slick for 1880s legalese, seals stamped flat, references to buoys installed post-World War I. Per the original Coastal Covenant from 1882, she intones like reading gospel. All outlying island in a 4-mile arc fall under our governance, transferred legally in 2010. You owe us $40,000 in arrears from the prior deadbeats, plus $4,000 monthly for bay upkeep. And that airstrip needs our stamp or it's a violation. Her crew nods like bobbleheads, the photographer snapping away, the fake deputy shifting feet, avoiding my stare. Inside, I'm boiling this wasn't about dues. It was a land grab, probably to flip for condos or hide something shadier, tied to the island smuggling ghosts. But her eyes gleamed with that power-hungry glint, like she'd crushed folks before, feeding off their fear. I played it cool, crossing arms, wiping grease from my hands. I've been mid-install. Ma'am, I'll need my lawyer to vet this. Mind sharing your association's filings? Maybe the audit trail on those fees? I snapped pics of them all, zooming on the deputy's badge letters off for our county. Her facade cracks, lips thinning. Mr. Harlan, resistance isn't wise. We've got pull legal, local that could make life uncomfortable. Think of it as community harmony. The threat hung there, raw, and yeah, it stung, stirring old memories of cartel intimidations I'd faced, but now on my turf, with my kid Mia due for a visit soon. Her minion steps back, nervous. The photographer films slyly. Is that a warning, Victoria? I say loud for the record. Because extortion's a federal no-go. She laughs, sharp. Just facts. Dear 48 hours to pay, or fine stack at $400 a day. Oh, and that radar toy? Unapproved. Tickets $800, cash preferred. She slaps down a pre-filled form. Then they pivot, boarding like a retreating army. Her yacht churning water as the plane circles overhead. A clear we're watching vibe. That night, unease gnawed, but I dug in, calling my old boss. Admiral Hayes, in code, storms brewing, odd flocks claiming the horizon. He gets it. Log the patterns. We're tracking. Then my attorney, Elena Ruiz, chuckles over the fakes. 1882 Covenant? Hilarious pure fiction. Send pics. I'll dismantle it. Mia calls, bubbly at 17. Dad, island life's epic can friends crash? Bonfires forever. I smile, but amp security plans. Rifling the house, I find a stash, cash passports, a notebook logging Victoria's yacht docking 15 times night drops, 2-hour stays. She wasn't just greedy. She was neck-deep in the old smuggling ring, desperate to reclaim her hideout before I unearthed proof. Harassment ramped up fast. Dawn calls alleging spills, erosion, bird disturbances. An inspector in a hardware vest shows no creds. HOA overrides warrants. He blusters. Elena on speaker. Show the covenant you signed. Oh, wait. None exists. He flees. Boats circle, blasting horns, snapping pics petty, but wearing. Vandalism hit next. Dock graffiti, submit or suffer. Plane tires shredded, fuel sugared. Cameras caught it. Fake deputy included. Motive clear. Her empire built on coercion, stealing spots for laundering drug cash. My island the crown jewel for its isolation and history. I felt exposed, angry but resolved. This bully's reign ends here. By day 5, it exploded, engines roaring at dawn, 12 boats storming in, barges hauling excavators. 25 thugs in mock tactical vests labeled enforcement. Victoria, in black fatigues like a wannabe commando, megaphone blaring. Jack Harlan, we're reclaiming this hazard under association edict. Demolish violations now. Blades dropped, shredding my shed gear worth 6 figures gone. Another gouged the airstrip. They doused my plane in gas. Victoria snarling. Torch this smuggler's relic. Her voice cracked, desperate. She was hunting files linking her to the cartel, burning papers in a frenzy. Where's the vault? She yells. I hit the beacon, heart pounding. Federal asset under siege, armed demolition. Response was thunder choppers cresting the horizon, rotors whipping wind. MH-65 dolphins hovering, doors sliding for TAC teams rappelling down like shadows. U.S. Coast Guard freeze or face force. Victoria whirls, flare gun aimed at evidence. This is my domain. A precision shot knocks it away. She's cuffed, screeching, "You trapped me, you're no civilian." As boats boxed her yacht, FBI choppers filmed. Her fake crew crumbled. We thought it was a gig reality show. Admiral Hayes lands, booming. "Agent Harlan, mission accomplished, this ring's done." Her face twists. "Agent, this was a setup?" "Yeah. Victoria, your greed walked you right in." They unearthed it all. Tech's plotting grabs. Hidden stashes, $10 million cash, 50 kilos product. Her hubby nabbed, fleeing with ledgers exposing a multi-state scam, 15 properties stolen via terror, funneled to offshore devs for kicks. She got 40 years on RICO, terror charges, him 25. Assets seized, victims repaid, but the scars? Deeper. Navy rebuilt my spot tougher. Fortified lighthouse, bunker comms, me is now inspired, eyeing Guard Academy. Eagle Point's a beacon, now museum draws crowds. Fees aid fraud victims. Laws pass cracking down on HOA tyrants. Her name mud for corruption. Yet, sometimes I wonder, was it pure justice? Or do we bend rules to bait her? Power's tricky. One side's hero, another's overreach. What do you think ever face an HOA gone rogue? Share below. Right or wrong here? Drop your stories. Let's chat fairness in these divided times.